Alright, welcome to episode 1 of my channel's Darkest Dungeon YouTube series. So before we actually start this video, I'm going to tell you to watch another video, because that's how my channel works. No, just kidding. For this playthrough, I have made a prologue video explaining some very basic game mechanics, such as what does the Hamlet here do, some things about, where dungeons are, what dungeons mean, the point of the game, etc. I'm not going to spend the time to go over that in this video, so we can kind of keep things rolling. So I don't want to ramble too much, and I already have a rambling problem with certain things. So please watch that video if you are completely new to this series and have no idea what Darkest Dungeon is. There are several mechanics that are not explained in that video, such as quite how the sanitarium works, because it's not unlocked yet. And trinkets, etc. We're going to talk about those things when we actually unlock them in the game, which will happen in the next couple episodes. But that's just kind of base mechanics in that video. I would recommend watching that first. Now that that disclaimer is out of the way, on my Discord server we've had people give me permission to use their usernames as characters in this game, so it's a little bit more serious if someone actually dies or somebody gets a crazy critical hit or whatever. Our 4 names have already been chosen. We have our starting Crusader and Highwayman, which I would love to see them get all the way to the end of the game and take on the final boss. That would be epic, but we'll see. We have Psycho Orc 99 and Kang __, which were the first 2 people that gave me permission to use their names, so they're the first 2 characters. I also think the Highwayman and kind of super tank Crusader role go along with those 2 people very well. Our Vestal is Nate There's More, because his full name couldn't fit, and the game has a character limit. And then Wintergreen is our Plague Doctor. These are our first 4 characters. Hopefully we'll have more names in future videos, and we're going to take on the first quest, or the first dungeon, right now. So, explain down here placement when we get into it, but I have my character set up a specific way. This is because certain characters can only use their actions or skills from certain positions. Again, this series isn't going to spend an hour discussing every single character, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, etc. We're going to kind of get into it as we go. So, like I said, the prologue video is like 10 minutes, it's not an hour, which is how much time I would probably need to get into everything, such as positive and negative quirks, etc., which we'll discuss when we actually get there. So, we have to do this mission first, unless we were insane and took on We Are the Flame, but we're not doing that. So, first mission of the game, which I believe is not randomly generated.
Measured now in gold, later in blood.
Provisions. So, this is an important aspect of the game. Before you go into a dungeon, you need to choose what provisions your characters will take. Obviously everything here costs gold, and if you watch the prologue video, you know that gold is very important to me and any player in the game, so you don't want to overspend. I am personally, just so the game doesn't kill me with RNG, I think for this first one I am going to take 1 stack of food. I don't believe there's a camping site in the dungeon at all. It's a short dungeon, but we're going to take 12 food anyway, because I've had double hunger pings on this dungeon before, which is crazy. We're going to be taking, I believe there isn't a blockage, but we're going to grab a shovel anyway. We'll grab a second anti-venom, 2 bandages, 1 medicinal herb, 1 skeleton key. I believe there's a chest in here. We'll take our standard 6 torches and 1 holy water. That's probably more, or sell that. It's probably more gold than I would need to spend for this, but it's the first dungeon. We don't want to screw up the playthrough already. So, very easy dungeon. Probably overspent, but it's YouTube. I want to be a little more careful. So here is the dungeoneering screen, and most importantly, here is our character lineup. So, for example, I might zoom in on this. I'm not sure. Currently, I'm hovering over a skill called Smite for our Crusader. Notice how there are 2 yellow orbs on the left side of the screen and 2 red orbs on the right side of the screen. So what that means is that this ability can be used from either position 2 here or position 1, and it can attack enemies that are in those positions as well. So the Crusader cannot hit the back row at all with this ability. His second ability also can't hit the back row. His third ability also can't hit the back row. And his fourth ability buffs himself. What does that tell us? It tells us that the Crusader cannot hit enemies who are in a back row like us at all. Say we were fighting this exact team composition, and there was a Vestal and a Plague Doctor on the enemy team. That won't happen in this game, but let's just say that was the case. Our Crusader here is useless against enemies sitting in the back, because he's a tank. Now, he does have abilities that I haven't unlocked yet, such as Holy Lance, which can spear the 3 back positions, but can only be used if he's way back for us. So knowing where to position each, effectively the short of this is knowing where to position all of your troops is very important in this game. He should be in the front. The Highwayman has lots of abilities that can be used from most positions that aren't the front. He can use Open Vein and Wicked Slice, 2 of his best attacks, if he's in the front though. Point Blank only if he's in the front. Grape Shot he has to be in the middle for. And Tracking Shot can be used anywhere. Duelist Advance can be used anywhere but the front. So a strong position for this guy is probably position 2 or position 3. I should also explain, when I'm referring to positions, frontmost is position 1, rearmost is position 4. The game may refer to this oppositely, but this is how I keep track of it. So Plague Doctor here is in position 4, Psycho Work is in position 1. Vestal, again, it's good to have her in the back. She can heal, she can do some damage, but she can't do that much work from the far back position, except cast Judgment. She has Divine Grace, she has Illumination, and Hand of Light, which I might end up using, and she can't be all the way back for that to work. That's why we have her right here for now. Finally, the Plague Doctor, most of his abilities have to be, or her, I believe this actually is a her, have to be used from the very far back positions, such as Plague Grenade, Blinding Gas, and Disorienting Blast. The back position is an option, and typically the hardest position to manage in this game is the rear, because not too many characters can attack from there. So Plague Doctor good in the back. Again, we'll discuss this more later, but I don't want to spend a half an hour sitting at this screen, otherwise my viewers are probably going to get bored. So this is the map. You can zoom in or zoom out of it. You know, this is where we want to go. Our goal up here on the top left is explore 90% of the rooms. So we got to go through every one of these except that one, I believe, although we might have to explore them all, I don't quite remember. So now you can see that we're heading through a corridor, and as our characters move through the corridor, we're changing our location on this map down here. So there's effectively 4 different miniature areas in this corridor before we get to this room. That's how this system works. We sometimes can know what's going to happen ahead of time in a hallway. We're never going to know what's going to happen ahead of time in a room unless it's scouted. Scouting pings or something we'll talk about later. Also, this last and bottom bar here, because it just happened, I believe Wintergreen just picked up some stress. So the top bar is health. Health is pretty explanatory. I think most people know how health works. Stress is a unique mechanic in this game. The more stressed your characters become, that actually doesn't really matter. Effectively, there's two bars in this game. There's 100 stress and there's 200 stress. If your character makes it to 100 stress, they will suffer an affliction, I believe 75% of the time. And they have a 25% chance to get a virtue. A virtue is actually really good. They're all good. But most of the time you'll get an affliction. And an affliction is a nasty effect when your character gets too stressed. You don't want afflictions. Again, they're all very different, but the short of it, you really don't want afflictions. However, if your character gets to 200 stress, they suffer a heart attack, which instantly puts them on death's door. If they're on death's door and suffer a heart attack, I believe they have a 100% chance to die. Maybe they can survive a heart attack death check on death's door, but I don't think that's possible. So, I mean, 100 stress is really bad. If you're getting above that, that's just really bad. Hopefully you can improve your stress management. We'll see what happens in this game, but I just want to talk about that. That's that bottom bar underneath the characters is stress. One way to keep the stress high is to always have a torch
Wealth
up.
beyond measure.
This bar at the top of the screen
Awarded to the brave and the
is our current amount of
foolhardy
torchlight.
alike.
I'm going to pop one before we go in this room. And the brighter, the better for us. The only reason you wouldn't want light is it's more loot, effectively. We're not going to be doing low light runs for a little while. Probably never in this playthrough. But low light means more loot, that's it. Everything else bad. High light means better dodge, better scouting, better chance for monster surprise, less stress, etc. So we're going to go high light. And our characters are in a good position here for a first fight. Which we have, against 2 Bone Rabble. So these guys are pretty crap. The basic enemies, they're nothing to really worry about. We could use Grape Shot Blast on them. I guess for the sake of this, I'm going to. Okay, that's actually a good example of why I was considering not using the ability, because it has low accuracy, but it hits them both. For the Vestal, we're definitely going to try to blast. Then with damage elimination isn't worth using. Hopefully we get a Plague Doctor next, which is, sadly, cannot use Plague Grenade because they're both in front. So we're going to Disorienting Blast the guy that I didn't hit. Which hopefully stun him, so now he can't act on his turn. And we could use Zealous Accusation, but it wouldn't be a kill on both of them, although it would be a guaranteed kill on this guy. That's probably worth doing, instead of just going for one hit.
Give them no quarter.
Now he's stunned, he can't do his action, and we're going to kill him come our turn. Okay, this is a really easy fight, just to showcase mechanics in this game. This game is not that easy. Alright, you have a chest here, which is unlocked. Important that it says unlocked. Don't remember if the shovel is a unique use here, or if the key is. I'm going to save the key for the chest that I know it works with. We're just going to open it normally. We got a shovel and 2 food, but it's actually pretty good. One thing I probably should have taken is more torches now, but I don't know. We have a blockage. Good thing I brought a shovel. So if you have a shovel, it gets rid of the blockage pretty easy. If you don't have a shovel and you come across a blockage, you have to clear it by hand. Clearing a blockage by hand just adds stress to the whole party design. Okay, so this is a much stronger party. The Bone Soldier's better than the Bone Rabble, but this woman in the back, the Cultist Acolyte, is a nasty character. She can build stress very, very fast. So even though these two guys can deal damage, and in most video games you want to kill the people that do health damage, in Darkest Dungeon you want to get rid of the people who do stress damage first, typically. So I think stunning her is better than blighting her with Plague Doctor. Hopefully we move her to the front. Okay, second position is pretty good. She's stunned, she can't act. I'd like to Grave Shot Blast all of them, but the game has trolled me twice now. The ability isn't that good, but in this situation it would be pretty darn good. We got a second dodge off the Vestal's Judgment ability, which is not good. It doesn't have good accuracy at this point in the game, but we really want to get rid of her. It's worth doing a single hit attack for that. Bump of the Night's a terrible attack. Doesn't do much damage. Stressful Incantation on Kang. Alright, 17 stress on our Highwayman. 4 damage slash. That's a low end damage on our Vestal there. That's pretty good. I would Grape Shot again, but I'm sick of screwing that up, so we're just gonna kill her flat out. Which surprisingly, she dodged again. This is not a good initial run here. We're gonna try to stun her again and hopefully do damage to both of them.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy.
And they want to go for a heal here. We could do damage, but in a lot of video games you can heal outside of combat. In Darkest Dungeon you cannot heal outside of combat unless you have food. So we're actually going to spend the time to have the Vestal heal our Highwayman in combat.
The wounds of war can be
because we can't really do it outside of combat efficiently.
But never hidden.
But still a net gain of 1 health from Highwayman. And Vestal went first again. And then have her heal the Highwayman again, so we can get someone else to hopefully deal with these two. Okay. I would Grave Shot here again, but I'm beginning to think the ability just doesn't like me, so we're going to use, what's this debatably higher damage? They don't bleed, so the gunshot. I mean, we got a crit on Kang, which means he recovers some stress and gets buffed with 2 additional speed. Finally, we're going to Disorienting Blast at the final skeleton here, which should stun him, and hopefully wipe him out with a smite from our Crusader. Not quite, but this fight's almost over. He can't act, and Kang's going to finish him off, or in this situation, Plague Doctor is. So that's actually a bad thing that just happened. I'm going to go over that after the fight ends.
As the fiend falls,
what just happened there is because of the speed of the Plague Doctor being faster than anyone else in our team except for Kang, our Highwayman. The Plague Doctor went first and didn't have an action that the Plague Doctor could do. Now this is normally fine because the Plague Doctor can always move around, but if you have no action you can do, you actually suffer stress damage, which is very bad. You never want to have your characters doing nothing, and that was potentially a bad situation for us. That isn't supposed to happen, but it's one of the rare times speed can be bad. High speed is typically one of the best stats in the game, but sometimes it can be really bad like that if you act before the rest of your team. Now we have some extra food, so I'm going to give that to our Vestal, which heals her. Food heals a small amount, but you also need food for hunger checks. We're going to pop a torch and head in. Empty room. Alright. Let's go this way. Head down this hallway. Ah, an item. Okay, I believe we do not want Psycho Orc to search this. I'll talk about that in a minute. Not bad. Alright, so our Crusader here has a skill called Kleptomaniac, which means he's prone to stealing stuff. And this is an ability that you always get. This is every single, your Crusader that you have a 100% chance of getting at the start of Darkest Dungeon will always have Kleptomaniac. He can steal things. And this interaction works a bit differently than other video games. Like, if you're picking up an item, he can literally say, no, player, you cannot have the item, I'm going to have it. And then he sticks it in his back pocket and you never see it again. So, this is one of those quirks we don't want him to have. God-fearing is also kind of bad, but it's not really that bad. And tuckered out's not that bad, honestly. Warrior of Light is pretty good for us. As long as we keep our torch up, he does more damage. Which we're going to do again. Probably should have brought extra torches now. Realizing torches go out slightly faster than I thought they did. Okay, here. So we have another 3-man fight against Bone Arbalist, which is a fairly big threat in this area. It won't be for us for this time, but in general, this guy's bad. He does very high damage and has a chance to crit, or a very high chance to crit. If there were 2 in the back, I would throw a blight on them, but in this situation, we're gonna go for the stun, which is better. Just a single target blight. For the Vestal, dealing damage here is good. High rolled on that. We'll try to kill the Bone Arbalist before he has a chance to act. He scares me more than these guys do, but that's really bad. 12 damage crit, half health Nate. Not a good opening. High roll on that against Psycho Orc. That was 2 big hits there. Although I am still going to kill a Bone Arbalist before he gets a chance to act. Just because they're a scarier enemy for the most part. We have an 85% chance to hit the back row, the 15% chance to crit, or 95, the lower chance to crit. We can hit this guy easier, because more of our characters, like Psycho Orc, can hit this guy, but can't hit this guy. We're going to deal with that with Kang here.
Confidence
Take it out with Nate.
the enemy crumbles.
I should point that Nate heals off every attack that his character does, assuming the Vestal uses Judgment. So every time the Vestal uses Judgment, she heals herself. So she doesn't have to constantly waste her turns healing herself when she doing things. Also, the Plague Doctor has a useless turn. This can happen if the only enemy alive is the front row. But I don't know. I wanted Psycho Orc to be able to do damage here. He doesn't get a bonus against the undead. And we're good. So Psycho Orc's in pretty bad shape, health-wise. I probably should have spent a turn to heal him.
Trifling victory.
I didn't think about that.
But a
However, I
victory
think
nonetheless.
this fountain does have an interaction with holy water, I believe. Yes, which is a bonus heal you get. So that's a curio. These are pretty much things you can check in the dungeon room. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. Now we actually have a trap here. Traps sometimes are seen. The only way to see a trap before it activates is if you scouted. If you got a scouting ping like we did, so we could see ahead in the dungeon down here. Characters have different chances of disarming traps. Dismiss Hero Highwayman is the best at disarming traps of this group. So he's gonna go for it, and hopefully he gets it. He doesn't get it.
Watch your
I
step.
swear. Because this is a YouTube run. Light is fading, so we're gonna pop an hour torch in here and keep moving through. Empty room, that's good for us. Regardless of whether you're in a battle or not, the torchlight always decreases at the same rate. We're not going to have Psycho Orc open that because he will steal things. Ah yes, more food for us. We've got tons of food now, so I'm going to use 2 food and 2 food on our remaining characters. I'm going to keep the 12 for hunger pings, but we really don't need the 12 now. Probably only should have brought 8. Oh, there's a hunger ping. There we go. We can still take 2 more hunger pings before we're out though. 1 torch left. This room is empty. I believe we only need to search this room, and we got a scouting ping, likely off of the fact that we used 2 torches there. Because we were at maximum light when we left that room, we have a higher chance to scout. And that was the second blockage. Because we got that shovel earlier in that chest, that made we didn't have to suffer lots of stress damage, right? So 2 blockages in this opening dungeon, I don't think it's normal. Maybe it is every time. Now, here's one of the most annoying enemies in the game. This is the Bone Courtier here. He just throws, like, old, grody wine at you, and it stresses your characters out. That's pretty much all he does. He's also... several memes have become of this guy. Again, you know what I want to do, everybody. You know I want to hurt them all. We're going to try it one more time, and if they dodge this one, I'm never using this ability again for a while. But that is ideally how it's supposed to work. It debuffs their crit receive chance, or it increases the chance that they can crit it, and it hits everyone for decent damage. There's Quarrel, which happened to dodge for us, which is good. Now because there's two enemies back there, I'm going to blight them both, instead of stunning one. The better play might have been to stun, but this gets the Bone Quarter out of the game pretty quick. Okay, so now we have a decision to make of whether do we heal Kang, or do we try to kill the Bone Courtier before he acts? We only need 1 damage to kill him. This is actually tough, and I imagine pro players will probably auto heal Kang here, but I really hate this guy, so I'm just gonna kill him. He would have died in 2 turns to the blight effect, but I'm personally happier that he's just dead and gone. We can go for a stun here on the Bone Defender, or we can try to outright kill the Bone Soldier, which will die as long as we land on him, so it's worth doing. The Arbalist is still in the back. We're definitely going to try to stun him next chance I get. Because these guys don't bleed, it might be better to take a tracking shot here. I'll go for a shot in the back. Yeah, I probably should have done a tracking shot. I was thinking about it. Alright, hopefully we stun. This lands, gets stunned, and he moves us to the front. That is ideal. Alright, he is stunned and moved into a position where Psycho Work can deal damage to him. We're going to try to heal when the Bone Defender is up, if I remember to do that in a couple turns. So we're not going to... well... now we... 4 damage. I only need... no, we're going to heal Kang. We don't want Kang suffering any more damage than he needs to take. I just want that Arbalist doing crazy damage. That's potentially bad. Okay, we did resist it, which is good. That's an attack that can knock you back. Alright. Boom. Arbalist right down. That undead bonus that Crusaders get is very important in these early levels, so I definitely want to take Psycho Work out for that. And now, poor Wintergreen has no move, sadly. Luckily, he can check his ability in this and not waste his turn. Alright. Even though undead cannot bleed, we're still going to use our knife attack on them, and hopefully try to get some extra turns to heal up Kang. We don't really need to because the dungeon's over, but this is just good management for the future. We'll go for a stun on this guy, which did not take, sadly, and hopefully this does not crit. It does not. Nice. We have plenty of health and damage to finish this guy off. We actually have nothing he can do apart from moving. We should have thought about that one better. And we're going to go for... actually an attempt to crit on the Bone Defender for stress. But sadly that... oh, we actually did get the crit. Wow. Alright. That was a move that I didn't think it would work. Alright. So we actually are done here. We're going to continue adventuring. We're not going to leave yet. The reason is because I want to explore what's in this chest. So I should explain one more thing here before we finish this dungeon out. Your character's health does not carry over when you leave the dungeon. So next time you use the exact same characters for a future dungeon, they will have full health. However, their stress does carry over. So as you're continuing through a dungeon, and say you know you're going to win it, or you're very confident in the fact that you're going to win it, health is less important than stress, which is why I went for a critical heal, or a chance to get a critical heal on Nate, instead of healing Kang. Because if I got that critical heal on Nate, it would actually reduce his stress. Which is something that you'd rather have lower stress because it doesn't go away for free, unlike health, which is returned to maximum for free after a game. These Heirloom Chests are what you bring keys for. They have bonus rewards
only the first test.
if you use a key on them.
Now it must be carried home.
I could attempt to fight more in here, but I have what I want. I don't think I really need to... well... no. For the sake of being careful, I'm actually not going to go back, just because we only have 1 torch. Well...
are you sure about that?
Nah, this will make for good YouTube, I guess. We're gonna be idiots for this episode and walk all the way back in the dungeon, which I'm gonna pop my final torch. And now we have no more torches, so my characters are gonna gain a little bit more stress, a little bit more whatever, because we're backtracking even though we can just leave. And there's another hunger thing. Luckily, I believe this room might have loot in it up here in the corner. if I remember correctly, in this pre-made dungeon. This is the only dungeon in the game from here on out that's always the same. Except for the final dungeons, they're always the same as well. We might have one more fight. Ah, we had a trap, but Kang dodged it. Very good on him. And let's see what's in this room. Ah, dark light is running out because Panzer is purposefully being an idiot. There is a fight in this room with an acolyte, a brawler, and a bone soldier. Okay. So first thing we're going to do, 73% chance to land a hit on the acolyte. Is it worth doing a tracking shot? 83%. She's gonna get stunned anyway. Yeah, we're doing a tracking shot for this run, which actually, that move does low damage, but it boosts Kang's damage in successful runs. Now we're getting a stressful incantation, which brings him up to 54 stress. And he's probably bleeding now. Yes, he is. And we could have avoided all of these things had we just left. But I thought I'd show this mechanic off, and we get a chance for more loot from this heirloom chest, so why not do it? And, you know, give poor old Kang way more stress than he possibly needs. She'll probably die, but... Let's just get her dead. I'm hitting on there. Okay, now I really should have been Kang. But hey, I didn't know what was going to happen. Turns back, and she's gone. Alright. And we need to heal. We need the Plague Doctor's battlefield medicine, which I'll pick up later, so we can heal Kang here. Resisted. Okay. Hero's bleeding, which is why we brought bandages. What's the debuff? Stress. Get rid of that. Alright. Kang is actually in a very bad position this early in the game. This was not a good idea. But he just got a crit and a bleed, which means he instantly killed the cultist brawler and recovered some stress. We are definitely healing Kang now. We should be good. That made up for it. But he's a lot more stressed out than he needs to be. Dead to the bleed, so we have one enemy left. Try to maybe go for some crit heals on Kang for a stress reduction. Or we'll just let I'll finish this. Because I can move them around, but I can't. Alright.
Be wary. Triumphant
don't
pride
have an extra
precipitates
key.
A dizzying fall.
We'll see what's in here. Contents are mine. What do we got?
Glittering gold.
Disease charm, 2
trinkets
buffs.
and
Okay.
baubles.
Now we've cleared everything in this
Paid for
dungeon,
in
and
blood.
Kang has way too much stress. Good job. Good job, me. Alright, we'll return to the Hamlet with our remaining characters. This is the victory screen here. All the items you do not use in the dungeon, by the way, such as the extra food that I didn't eat at the end, that's converted back to some gold. So if you have some stuff that you know it's kind of a waste to use, don't use it. Keep it in your inventory, and you know, afterwards you'll get a little bit of gold for it. It's not much, but it's something. Now this is the screen where your characters not only earn experience and level up, but they also gain good or bad quirks. So let's see what Psycho Orc got. Deadly, 2% critical hit chance. Not a bad perk. That's a good perk. We'll keep that. Kang earned hard skinned, 10% protection. That's really good. I wish that was on Psycho Orc. But 10% protection on Kang, that means 10% less damage taken. That's a good perk. Backtracker, no stress penalty on walking backwards is a pretty bad good perk. We'll explain these good and bad perks. We've actually gotten 3 good ones in a row, but that's a pretty useless good quirk. You don't typically walk backwards, ever. So that's kind of a waste of a good perk. And Wintergreen picked up Skilled Gambler. Wow, so we actually have 4 good perks here. That's surprising. I don't think I've ever had that happen in my opening run in this game. Increased chance of winning while gambling. That almost makes me think we should have Wintergreen be our gambler this playthrough, but we're not going to do that. Gambling typically isn't worth it because you lose. Even if you have the trait like that that increases your chance of winning, is still bad.
And the pistol. A fitting end to my folly.
Alright.
And a curse upon us all.
I'm gonna try to be quiet whenever Wayne June talks, because his voice is awesome. Anyway, now that we've completed that dungeon, now I'd normally end the episode here, but I want to talk about a couple of things that we just unlocked. So now, the Abbey and the Tavern have been unlocked. They're both stress relief. They both work a little different.
The cobwebs have been dusted, the
So-
pews set straight.
What this
The
means...
Abbey calls to the faithful.
I forget how long his voice lines are. Each upgrade you put in here has the effect of it increases stress recovery, and then it adds another room up here. And then more stress recovery, then another room, then more stress recovery, and then one final room. So upgrading these all the way gives you 3 rooms instead of 1. Why would you want more rooms? Because once a room is occupied for stress recovery, or stress relief, I'm sorry. Once the room is occupied, it can't, a week has to go by until that character is out of there. So if you want to treat more people at once, you unlock more things. For the sake of this, Kang is in really pretty rough shape, and he has known cheat, and known cheat's been locked in, which means he isn't even allowed to gamble, and frankly, he shouldn't even be in the tavern. Kang is apparently our cheater for this run. And Necromania, which is locked in already, which means it's going to be incredibly expensive to remove. That sucks. Okay, that does... I don't know. That was like 1 week. Nate has Plutomania, which is, I believe, not a terrible perk. I don't remember how bad this one is. Light Sensitive is bad. I want to get rid of that because we're going to be we're always going to have a torch up for this run. And Wintergreen has Fear of Mankind, which is kind of bad, but not too bad. Dipsomania, which just means he's drunk all the time, which is fine. Alright, and we have the Tavern. Tavern structure, which is the same exact thing as the Abbey,
curtained rooms
only it works a bit different.
Solace to the weary and broken alike.
Same thing, stress relief, exactly the same way, but you can pick up some bad stuff. Like I believe all of them, the bar, gambling hall, and the brothel, all offer potential, a low chance of something really bad happening to your character. The Tavern we're not going to use at all. Also, it takes portraits to level up, which we're going to use for something else. So, screw the Tavern. Even though Wintergreen's a crazy gambler, I'm still not doing that. And here we're going to throw Kang. Let's see. Do we want to treat everyone? No, we don't want to treat everyone. Everyone's stress is pretty low except for Kang. Let me see who came in the stagecoach. Yikes. Jester and Antiquarian. Wow, I really didn't want to see those two. Well, I'm at, let me, I just remembered. Should have done that week 1. Didn't.
Ambition is stirring in distant cities.
Upgrade
We
wise.
can use this.
A Jester. Alright. Pick them both up.
You
No reason
will
not
be
to grab them
laughing
at this
still
point.
at the end.
Jester, Fear of Mankind, Dart of Temptation. That's not good. He has have quick draw though, and quick reflexes, which is this is one of the best skills in the game. Quick reflexes. A 9-speed Jester at level 1. Pretty good. Antiquarian has Resolution, will never drink. Not a bad one really. Just means she can't drink to recover stress, but not a bad thing in general. That's not good though, Ruminator, but Resolution's fine. Reward Tactician is good. Quick reflexes. Wow, 2 people with quick reflexes. Do we have another person with quick reflexes? I believe. Yeah, well, I think the Highwayman always starts with it, but wow, I got 3 quick reflexes. That's pretty good. All right. Anyway, this video went on a little long, but the future videos will be shorter as we take on the dungeons faster. I'm not sure who I'm going to put in for stress relief, but I'll figure that out next episode. So we successfully cleared our first dungeon, picked up a Jester and an Aquarian with pretty good perks, and we'll see what happens with those in the next episode.